My insane mother-in-law faked a health scare so we would cancel our honeymoon. We had to go home over a week early because she is crazy and crazy jealous and couldn't handle her son having a good time without her. I love my husband so much, but my mother-in-law drives me absolutely nuts. Their relationship is honestly gross. She uses him as an emotional crutch and calls him like 100 times a day about literally everything and always makes him solve her problems or listen to her talk about nonsense. She got so mad at me when she asked to join us on our honeymoon and I said no. She was shocked and could barely talk when I said we were actually really excited about having 2 weeks of alone time after a year of intense work and stressful wedding planning. Then she got super angry and mean. She even went so far as to bring it up multiple times at different family dinners and gatherings and paint me like the bad guy. So we were finally alone on our first couple days of our honeymoon in Mexico, and it was great except she was still calling constantly. I finally said, "Babe, do you think you could leave your phone in the room or maybe not answer all of the calls from your mom? I feel like you're on your phone so much with her and I want to spend quality time with you." He agreed, but that somehow got her riled up and she started calling even more and texting constantly asking where he was and why he wasn't calling her back. I think he felt super bad so he didn't tell her the truth and just said like we are really busy and having a really good time and we couldn't have our phone out for the activities or in the pool and stuff. That was day 2. Day 3 was tense because she would not stop calling and texting even more. Talk about anxious attachment. This was next level. Then day 4 came and midday my husband looked at his phone and was like, "Oh my god, my mom just texted me that she's going to the ER. I didn't answer her calls this morning because you told me not to. I need to call her." He immediately calls her and she doesn't reply. Then she sends a text saying she's in the ER and can't talk on the phone because she's talking to the doctor. My husband is freaking out, and then he starts kind of freaking out at me because I was being calm. "We need to go home," he tells me. "What? We just got here, Jeremy," I said. "I'm sure she's going to be okay." He shot me the most scathing look. "My mom is in the hospital, Emily. We need to go home. I'm looking at flights." I was pretty pissed at this point. Couldn't he see that she's absolutely full of it? She wanted so badly to come on the honeymoon, got so upset when I said no, and now she's suddenly at the hospital? When she's normally in perfect health and everyone in the family knows it, and always talks about how fit, agile, and healthy she is. I tried to rationalize with him, but he raised his voice at me and I couldn't get through to him. So I started packing. I cried into my swimsuits and cute outfits as I took them out of the closet in our gorgeous suite and put them back in my suitcase. What bullshit. She had better be really effing sick, is what I was thinking. We flew home that night on a red-eye and immediately went to go see his mom in the morning, who was at home, by the way, and not in the hospital. She acted all sick and frail and talked in a really quiet voice when we got there, like she had no energy and could barely move. She said she was having chest pain and was constantly dizzy and felt weak and like she couldn't breathe. My husband was all over her playing caretaker, and I tried to stay out of the way because I was pretty sure you could read my face and what it was saying was, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. We were there literally all day and all I could think about was how we were supposed to be doing ziplining and having fun honeymoon intimacy and eating delicious food from room service, and instead I was sitting on a couch at my mother-in-law's house eating random things I found in her pantry. When it was nighttime, my husband was insisting that she come home with us so that we could watch her in case anything happened overnight. "Oh, I think I'll be okay, sweetie," she said in her quiet fake sick voice. "You go home and rest and come back tomorrow. I'll call you if I need anything in the night." He didn't like that but she insisted so we went home. The next day, we were both going to go over there, but first he decided to go pick up some medication for her across town. At the last minute, he had me go pick up some soup and stuff for her and asked me to bring it to her house and that he'd meet me there in an hour or so. I was feeling pretty salty but I didn't want to be a-hole in case she was actually sick, so I went to Whole Foods and picked some stuff up and then brought it to her house. But as I was walking up to her house, I caught sight of her through the window in the living room, and she was standing up. It looked like she was dancing. What the hell? I thought. I went up to the door and knocked. 1 second, I heard her say kinda in a panic. A few minutes went by. I knocked again, and then said, "Hi, it's Emily." She came to the door a few seconds later, looking super sick. She was walking really slow and had her eyes half closed and looked pretty pathetic. I maybe would have bought it if I hadn't seen her up and happy just minutes before. "Oh, Emily, hi. Sorry, I'm just so weak and it was so hard for me to get out of bed." I thought. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I was so right. This was all just a freaking plan for her to ruin our honeymoon. I was so mad, but I didn't know what to say. I knew if I called her on it, she would completely deny it. I waited until my husband came over and then pulled him aside and told him what I saw. "Oh, come on Emily," he said. "I'm sure that's not true. Look at her. She was in the hospital. You're calling her a liar? That's crazy. She was probably just walking to the bathroom or something." But I knew what I saw. I reminded him that she wanted to come on the honeymoon and was so pissed when I said no. "And you barely backed me up when that happened," I said. "Don't you see how that is toxic? It's so weird. It's so inappropriate. And now she has this whole elaborate effing scheme going and she ruined our honeymoon." He was not buying it at all and ended up walking out of the room after we bickered quietly about it, because she was in her bed again, playing sick. I couldn't really do anything about it, and I didn't know what to do, so I went to the kitchen to eat some of the soup and ice cream and other stuff I'd picked up at Whole Foods. But then when I was throwing away some of the packaging, I noticed something in her trash can and pulled it out. Some tags from Nordstrom and a receipt. At the top of the receipt was the date and time. And what do you know? It was from the afternoon she was in the ER. Almost the exact time. Oh my god, I thought. What a snake. Not only was she so crazy to pretend to go to the hospital, but she was shopping instead? When she said she couldn't answer her phone because she was in the ER with the doctors? What Was she going to wear her new outfit to our next family gathering while she talked about how sick she'd been and thank goodness Jeremy came home to save her? I called Jeremy and showed him. He again just said it was nothing. Maybe she was at Nordstrom when she started getting the chest pain, he said. We got into another fight. A big one this time. If you can't see how she's playing you and how she's messing with our marriage, I said, then I can't do this. You aren't married to your mom. You're married to me. If you can't prioritize me, then you should just move in with her because I'm not effing doing this. This is crazy. She is crazy. He refused to budge and kept defending her, and I lost my poop and my patience and left. He sent me a text saying I was the one being crazy and I owed him an apology and that he was insulting him and his mom and his family. I had it at that point. I texted him back and basically said, then I don't want anything to do with your mom or you or your family. This is not how I'm going to live my life. This is nuts. A couple days went by, and I stayed at our house while he stayed at his mom's place. Then, I'm not sure what happened, but suddenly he texted me that he was going to come over. And when he got to our house, he said he believed me. He said he confronted his mom finally and she told more lies that exposed her earlier lies, and then was gaslighting him, too. He said he could finally see how twisted and toxic their relationship was and he didn't want to lose me. I gave him an ultimatum, and we ended up moving cities so we didn't live in the same town as his awful mom anymore. We never explained to her why, because she would have kept lying anyways. Now, I only have to see her once a year, and when I do, I always talk about how much fun Jeremy and I have together, all the things we do, the special moments, and all of that. I love to see her squirm with envy. Calm as a beach.